like to call the meeting of the CRA to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Chair Paul,
Here.
Vice Chair Lewis, Board Member Whitman,
Here.
Board Member Hatton,
Here.
Board Member Starkey,
Here.
Mr. Lamack,
Here.
Mr. Holstee, Mr. Weinthal.
Here.
Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Shall we excuse Marlon or wait? Yeah, well, let me have a motion to excuse
Motion to
Vice
excuse
Chair.
Vice Chair Marlon Lewis.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
If he comes back, we'll rescind it, but we don't have to. We have the approval of the consent agenda. I'm going to pull number 3. Anybody else have anything they want to pull? May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda minus item 3?
Motion to accept the consent agenda minus item 3.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Holstee to look at number 3.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Good evening, CRA Chair and Board members. I'm Philip Holstee, CRA Director. Tonight I'm going to be making a short presentation prior to your consideration of the White Oak Purchase and Sale Agreement and Parking Agreement. The Purchase and Sale Agreement is on your CRA agenda, and the Purchase and Sale and Parking Agreement will be on the Town Council agenda. So in attendance here tonight from White Oak, we have Andy Burnham and Elizabeth Summerstein. Just wanted to introduce them. So I wanted to just provide a brief recap of how we got here today regarding this proposal. As a reminder, we had the Altus plat that was approved back in October 2022 by the Town Council with 286 residential units and 1,750 square feet of commercial. Subsequently, this plat was approved by Broward County in August of this year. Next, the timeline. Previous to tonight's approval, we had Altman Development Group was proposing a project based upon the Altus plat. They got their site plan approved in August of 2022. Unfortunately, they terminated their agreement with the town and CRA in January of 2023, which led us to the surplus process where we had Paragon, who is another developer who submitted a proposal unsolicited to develop the Altus plat. Subsequently, the town and CRA went through a surplus notice period, and White Oak submitted a proposal, which subsequently the CRA and Town Council picked as the best proposal at the September 6, 2023 meetings. Which leads us to about 2 months later, tonight, November 15th, where we're presenting the purchase and sale agreement with White Oak for your consideration. So White Oak proposes and continues to propose from the beginning a residential development with 286 residential units. That'll be 4 stories tall with a pedestrian bridge over Southwest 42nd Street. And before you is a conceptual site plan. Next, I'm going to cover the details of the agreement between White Oak and the town of Davie and the CRA. So the proposed purchase price is $11.44 million. We've allocated this funding based upon the proportionate share of the property. So the property is about 4.11 acres. The CRA owns approximately 55% of this property. The town owns 45% of the property. So subsequently, we came to that allocation of $6.24 million for the CRA and $5.16 million for the town if this property were to close, based upon the terms in this agreement. White Oak is also proposing to construct Southwest 65th Avenue from Southwest 42nd Street to Southwest 43rd Street. This is based upon the approved concept that was approved as part of the plat and the site plan for the Altman project. So prior to property closing, White Oak will be delivering deposits totaling $900,000. The first $100,000 will be due if their contract is approved tonight. Second $400,000 will be due at the end of the investigation period, and the remaining $400,000 will be due if they got the governmental approvals. So other details in the agreement. So if this agreement was approved tonight, White Oak closes on the property, and the anticipated closing would be roughly December of 2024. They would have 12 months post-closing in order to start vertical construction of the project. If they didn't do so at that time, the town and CRA would have the right to buy the property back from them at a reduced cost of $10 million. And as a reminder, we'd be selling it to them for $11.44 million, so it would be a reduction in price of $1.44 million. Other details in the agreement is, since there's the pedestrian bridge being built over Southwest 42nd Street, there would be a closure of that street of up to 6 months in order to provide construction of both buildings as well as the pedestrian bridge. Working with White Oak, we're going to try to limit any closures and their impact upon the rodeo events and special events at the rodeo grounds. They've agreed to work with us on that. But again, we just wanted to make you aware of that potential closure during that period. So other details in the agreement, the project includes affordable housing. Per the town's inclusionary housing ordinance, 20% of the project needs to have inclusionary housing, so they're doing 20% workforce housing, and 3 low-income units. The 3 low-income units are tied to the CDBG funding that was utilized to buy the former chamber property. So in order to comply with the requirements of that funding, there'll be 3 low-income units included in that 20%. On the other side, the town needs to compensate the developer because that was not originally contemplated, those 3 low-income units. So that'll be in the fashion of $600,000 in credits that can be utilized for engineering fees, building fees, impact fees, et cetera, towards the project. So we updated the fiscal analysis in comparison from the Altman project till now. You'll see the numbers have gone up slightly since then. The proposed taxable value of this project is estimated at $87.5 million. One-time revenues from this project, which includes the building fees, engineering fees, impact fees, water and sewer connection fees, are estimated at $3.2 million. And the annual recurring revenue to the town from property taxes, fire assessments, water and sewer, franchise fees, intergovernmental revenue is estimated at $960,000. Based upon this property being added to the tax bill roughly in November 2027, we would first see revenue from it at the earliest in fiscal year 2028. That's why you see the note there that we're not anticipating any CRA revenue since the current CRA sunsets in 2027. Finally, I just wanted to cover the exhibits in the purchase and sale agreement. We have the legal description, which is very straightforward. The developer's agreement, which I've covered the details of it. Exhibit C discusses the crossover agreement, which I've touched on regarding the potential or the closure of Southwest 42nd Street for up to 6 months. But I wanted to touch on the project schedule and just highlight where we go from here if this agreement's approved tonight. They anticipate submitting their site plan in January with an anticipated town council approval in May of 2024, obtainment of building permits by November of 2024, and a property closing by the end of 2024 with a groundbreaking ideally either by the end of 2024 or early 2025. So I've covered the purchase and sale agreement and all the related exhibits. So I just wanted to turn to what will be on the town council agenda, and that's the White Oak parking agreement for the temporary use of the Huck Lyles property. So if you think of Huck Lyles and dividing it into quadrants in the northeast corner, they're proposing to use that for approximately 18 months for parking of their construction workers. They'd be paying the town $8,000 per month to utilize that property, and that funding per their restricted covenants would be utilized for improvements to the rodeo grounds and arena. Anytime we would have a special event where that parking would be needed, the town would work on identifying another location for their workers to park on that particular day. And that covers the agenda items you'll see tonight. I'm here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a quick question. ma'am.
Yeah. Welcome. We'll rescind your excusal.
Thank you. Where we talk about going vertical within 12 months, do they think that's possible?
In terms of going 12 months from property closing,
Yes.
yes, they do. And Andy can speak to it if he would like, but we've obviously negotiated this agreement with them, so they won't be agreeing to anything that they can't do. So 12 months from property closing is very reasonable to go vertical on this project.
Okay, then they're further along than I thought they'd be then, okay.
Well, doesn't going vertical mean you at least have one post in or something?
Yes, I mean,
Starting.
they would have to be going vertical based on this schedule, by December of 2025,
Yeah.
roughly.
So they would have to have all their underground work done by then?
Yes.
Okay, that's not included.
But it's gonna take a month to get their permits, isn't it? Or
Well, they would get their building permits by the end of 2024.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, Susan?
And it's funny, I had a conversation with Philip earlier today about several of those similar questions about the timing and the timelines. And, you were very kind to explain everything to me. And, I just have to commend staff over time. You guys, the mayor, we know that everybody has worked so hard to try to get this project moving forward and that particular site. And I will have to say, since 1988, it's been the CRA's vision to move forward with this kind of a project there. I've been a strong supporter of any kind of mixed income, but also a mixed use. And unfortunately, I don't see the mixed use, but I've been assured by staff and Mr. Holste that staff has been aggressively working to try to make sure we do include business and commercial along the corridor as well. But I am impressed with how we were able to move this item and it's been a while, and it's consistent with all the previous site plan approvals that had been given with the previous developer. And a lot of the agreements are very similar to what we've seen, with just tweaking a few things. I'm really pleased that they're not gonna exceed the 4 stories. That was another thing that kind of frustrated, I think, the council with the last project, and especially me. And I also am really pleased that we're gonna be including the 20% of affordable workforce housing, as well as 3 low-income housing. And that is, again, the mixed income that I'm looking to see a sustainable project long-term downtown. The staff is to be commended again. I thank you all, Cheryl, and I know, I see Debbie Thomas here, and just Rick Lamack and all of you, and David Quigley and Alan. All of you have worked so hard, and if I didn't mention anybody, and I know you've been busy on it, I thank you too.
Well, thank you for touching on that. I was going to come to thank them as well, but one person I do want to include is Glenda. Because
Glenda.
obviously she helped us with the affordable housing component of or workforce housing
Absolutely.
component of this throughout. And obviously everyone you named was a party to making this a successful agreement. So thank you.
Absolutely. And, I also, had questions, and Philip, thank you for answering them today, regarding the timeline, whether it was aggressive or whether it wasn't strict enough. And they looked at what was currently market conditions and the way things are timing. And they believe that this is a conservative approach to the timeline, and they think that the developer will make that. So I was pleased to hear that as well. If we could do it sooner, we'll be even more pleased. So thank you for nodding. I see the developer nodding, and they're anxious to get started. So thank you all very much for your hard work on this. And yes, it's consistent with what we've previously had approved.
Anybody else? I think Susan did a very good job of summarizing, so I won't repeat anything, but I agree with her. And so we, at this point, I will entertain a motion to approve number 3 as revised.
Second.
I didn't make the motion, I entertained it, so you have to make the motion.
I'll make the motion to
approve number 3 as
Approve number
revised.
3 as revised.
And I'll second
And
that.
you seconded it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. We have our schedule here for our next meeting is December 6th, and then we don't come back until January 17th, so keep that in mind. Do we have any comments to be made? Mr. Holsey?
Chair
Oh,
Paul,
Cheryl,
I'm going to
would-
defer to Cheryl tonight.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd just like to provide the board with a brief update. We sent out.
Can you speak into the mic, please?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. I just would like to provide a brief update to the board and let everybody know that we sent out our tax increment invoices to all of the taxing authorities this week. So that went out. We're expecting to receive our money back hopefully shortly. Those included the town of Davie, Broward County, North Broward Hospital District, South Broward Hospital District, Central Broward Water Control District, and Children's Services Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go back one thing. I have a question that I would like to discuss with you, I guess with Phil. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up before, but the lighting on Davie Road, I understand that's a little challenging, and
It has been a little challenging. We are still working through it with Jonathan Voigt, our town engineer. We did have some better results last night with the lighting. We're not through all the troubleshooting and everything. Hopefully, we will have some better information for you next week on that.
okay,
The
thank you.
holiday lighting has been lit on Davie Road. I'm not sure if everybody has seen that, but that was really exciting. And we have some more surprises to come soon. You'll be seeing the holiday banners going up, and we're also doing some decorations on the decorative light poles in the center median islands.
Great, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Mr. Weinthal?
I'm good, Mayor.
Thank you. If there's no objection, we're adjourned.